Alright, why the fuck a Nazirite at a funeral? We're getting to the meaty part of this section of this series of videos in the thought experiment. This video is called The Vow of Naziriteship. What we're going to be doing here is basically extracting the principle from reading from the Bible. So we're going to peep game, niggas. So we take the Bible read. Yeah, we about to peep game, motherfucker. So pay attention to mind your language, guy. And this is what's up. Pay attention. We're about to read the Bible, about to peep game. And we're gonna be going to Numbers. This is the reason why this we're doing this thought experiment is because we want to actually find out what was the intent behind the Ubu Nazarite movement, and why is it so fundamentally, I would say fundamentally, why is it different to the Nazarite that's in the Bible? And what I've tried to do in the previous videos is give you a bit of background to say, please guys, what we're doing here is we're watching the movie. When we read the Bible, it's like watching a movie. And when we finish watching the movie, we hope that we've extracted some ideas and some principles from watching that movie. And then when we experience life, we're able to take those principles and apply them. So we're able to recognize the principle that we saw in the Bible or in the movie, and we're able to apply it in real life. We're able to be like, oh, I see you. Okay, right, fun. Okay, right, fun. That's what's up. You're able to do that, like Papa Action and Chester. So what I've been trying to build up to is say, that's the quality you need to be able to have to follow and understand the intent and why a Nazirite would be at a funeral. Otherwise, you wouldn't understand. You would probably be like, well, what's happening here? This doesn't say that in the book. So we're going to read the book now and we're going to extract the principles. And hopefully you guys follow, and I'm going to take you slowly through this process. So don't trip. So what I also tried to do in the previous videos is give the difference of the context of what's happening in the story. The setting is different. And the story is set in ancient Israel, the ancient world, and Rome. So Jesus comes in the context of Rome to a people who were established in the ancient world. Then we go to reality now. You got the Zulu people who know who they are, what their fundamental beliefs are, and then this is what Shembe does, and he comes to the Zulu people, and you get what I mean, and announces Umbuso Zulu is at hand. So what Shembe did was basically, oh, I see the movie, okay, right, fun, okay, right. And then he responded accordingly, and this is what I'm about to demonstrate. So let's not go too far into it. Number 6, I'm going to read it out. This is the chapter that basically discloses what it is to be a Nazirite. Given the context that Israel was given laws, it was given a specific, the Levites were the dedicated priests of the tribe or of the 12 tribes of Israel. And here was this context where we had these special people who were called Nazirites that would take a special vow. And I'm going to read it out. Jehovah further spoke to Moses and said, speak to the Israelites and tell them, if a man or a woman takes a special vow, right? Special vow to live as a Nazirite to Jehovah, he should keep away from wine and other alcoholic beverages. He should not drink vinegar of wine or vinegar of anything alcoholic. He should not drink any liquid from grapes, nor eat grapes, whether fresh or dry. Right. So it's very important to hear now that if you were a Nazirite, you took the special vow, you went out of your way to do it. So it wasn't compulsory. So every other Israelite was not bound by this law of Naziriteship. Very important for our Nazirite because sometimes they forget that. All the days of his Naziriteship, he should not eat anything made from the grapevine, from the unripe grapes to the skins. All the day of his vow of Naziriteship, no razor should pass over his head. He is to remain holy by letting the hair of his head grow until the days of being set apart to Jehovah are completed. So he'll have his hair on until, for as long as his vow of Naziriteship is in place. So he should not, now here it gets interesting, he should not approach a dead person during all the days he remains separated to Jehovah. Even if the father or his mother or his brother or his sister should die, he may not defile himself, because the sign of Naziriteship is on to his God is upon his head. So this is very important. This goes to my first point. So this is what a Nazirite was in the context of the movie, the story, the Bible satire. The satire that is the Bible. Right. Remember I told you what satire is a story that's fictional that reveals fundamental truths about reality. That's what the Bible is. So in the satire, in the context of the satire, this was the condition for Naziriteship. Let me go to point number 1 I'm going to make right now. I'm going to read out point 1. Israel, vow of Naziriteship to Jehovah. Remember, Jehovah is the king who intends to show up. What they were supposed to do is not shave their head, so that's visible, so they might become apparent that these are the guys that don't shave their heads, that do not drink alcohol or anything from the grapevines. That's a habit. That is a distinct quality. So how would you know that a person is a Nazirite? You'd see from their hair, from far away. If you get close enough to them, you'd notice that they're sober and they don't touch anything from the grapevine. And then another thing is that for them to keep their vow of Naziriteship, they should never be seen around a dead person. So this is where it says, even if your brother or your family relative should die, motherfucker, stay the fuck away. Don't break your vow of Naziriteship. That's what's up. So I'm going to read on from chapter 6, Numbers, right? Verse 8. He is holy to Jehovah all the days of his Naziriteship. But if someone should suddenly die alongside him, and he defiles the hair, symbolizing his separation to God. So the hair is a symbol of his separation to God. That is the signal. Like, hey, boom. Right? And he defiles it. So how would you being near a dead body defile it? It's like saying, if somebody having long hair represents that this person will never be around a dead body, you defile it by being around a dead body. You defeat the purpose and the principle. Because God is trying to create a principle that, those guys with long hair, you never die around those motherfuckers. Those motherfuckers, you always stay alive. So let me put it this way. Point number 2. So this is what I want to make this point, right? Right? He must, but if someone should suddenly die alongside him and he defiles the hair symbolizing his separation to God, he must shave his head on that day. He establishes his purification. He should shave it on the 7th day, and on the 8th day he should bring 2 turtle doves and 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tent. And the priest will prepare one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering to make atonement for him for his sin in connection to the dead person. So a Nazirite would have sinned. So any other person in Israel would have not sinned by being near a dead person. But a Nazirite, it is a sin for a Nazirite to be anywhere near a dead person. So this is one of my question. A Nazirite at a funeral? How are we talking about a Nazirite at a funeral? You know what I mean? So I'm going to go to my second point. Point number 2. Israel, the vow of Naziriteship to Jehovah, to the king who intends to show up. Remember Jehovah, I gave you the context of the Israelites. Their hope was that Jehovah was the Son of Man that would later rise up and become king over Israel and establish Israel as the cornerstone of creation. So here I am saying this. Well, Point number 2. Okay, so a Nazirite can determine how long you want to keep the vow. So you determine, like, from this date to that date, it has a start and an end point. That's very important. It is a sin to break the vow. And how do you break the vow? By being found near a dead body. That's a fundamental, that's what made you a Nazirite. That it was a sin to be anywhere near a dead body. If you came near a dead body, you defiled the signal of your hair, which symbolizes your separation to God. And for that, if you do that, you must pay. Go with 2 turtle doves and make a sin offering. A Nazirite must fulfill, and this is where it's said later on in the scripture, must fulfill any other promises he has made to Jehovah as a Nazirite. Very important. Very important. So, as you can see, that's quite a mouthful, as you can see. So we understand fundamentally what a Nazirite is. And it goes on. Alright, so that's what a Nazirite is. So what I want to just tie this video up with is basically describe the whole purpose. So if you look at this, you describe it. There must be an intent behind why Jehovah would set up a group of people called Nazirites. I've explained in a couple of videos that have not been published yet, but I've explained a couple of times that there was a purpose behind the Levitical priesthood and why Jehovah, the God of the Israelites, set up the Levitical priesthood to do what they did. And what the Levitical priesthood was basically a polling station in which the true God could get an assessment, could assess the moral condition of the camp of Israelites, or the moral condition of his people. So remember, the Levitical priesthood, or the Levitical tent, where the priests, where people would come and report incidents like, I've sinned, somebody has been born, somebody, all these. So you're able to assess the condition of your people based on what comes in, and the activities at the tent. So that was the purpose. And people don't pay attention to this, particularly Christians. They're all about this. And I'm not to say, look, not to say being a Christian is bad, but the doctrine is absolutely bad, because we lose plot, we lose track of the true purpose behind why the Bible has been written. We have been forced to say, believe, when it's about, hey man, peep game and understand what the moral of the story. And once you get the moral of the story, look at your life and you'll recognize the same principles play out. Now it's up to you to respond accordingly. And so I want to give you a fundamental principle behind what Naziriteship was and the purpose of it. What's evident in the Bible, it's very clear that in the context of what Jehovah was doing with the Israelites, establishing the Levitical priesthood, why does he go and establish this opportunity, this vow, they say, of Naziriteship? There's a purpose behind that. You don't do that. We don't do the ship for nothing, So let me go to my third point. I'm going to make this third point now. The third point, the purpose of the vow of Naziriteship was to be a lasting signal among God's people that Jehovah intends to live forever among them. So this is like an experiment. So it was like a social experiment of what it is like to live in a death-free world. So the experiment is like, how long, if I have Nazirites, how long can they go? Can they complete their vow for like the period of time from the start? Let's say I decide to be a Nazirite for 10 years. Can I complete my vow without coming near a dead body? That will give me an indication of the condition of the Israelites. The peacefulness of the community, or the health of the community. So these are the things that I'm trying to point out. So it gives you an indication. So this is why you set up the vow of Naziriteship. Last point, the results from the Levitical polls give an indication of how feasible it is for Jehovah to show up at any point in time. So this is basically like an acid test to say, like, how safe is it? Check the coast, nigga. The Nazirites, the polls from the Nazirites will tell me how safe is it to be around to show up. Do I show up now? Because if I'm checking the polls and 30% of the Nazirites always break the vow because of some sudden death or something happening, not safe. You try to look, why is people dying? Because fundamentally, in the context of Israelites, Jehovah himself was the one that was responsible for death. He was the one that could cause death. If death was occurring in the camp, it would have been either because of sinful activity or because of the fact that, and this is what it's ideally, because of a foreign intrusion or something or some influence that is messing things up. So I gotta end it there. So now we get why we have the vow of Naziriteship and the purpose behind it in the context of the biblical story, the satire. The satire is basically a fictional story that gives you fundamental truths about reality, and this is what's up. So now we're gonna appreciate, based on this, now we appreciate why Shemba does what he does and founds a movement called NAZIRITE. Let's check it out. Next video. Dope stuff.